kind of shared my views. And I do feel author needs to be open to, take feedback of the publisher in kind of, whenever Leonard or anybody in their team, would give a feedback. I think, I kind of accepted it as a feedback, and I kept an open mind, and we finally came out with the book. But it was difficult to sell, it got listed in some of these online bookstores, but it was not available on the regular bookstores because I tried from my side also, separately. Besides, I think they also kind of put it across to some distributors, but those things didn't work. So distribution was a hurdle. That's what, at least in my experience, I could say. Maybe I didn't really could have could have handled it differently, or I could have, made directed my efforts differently. I don't know, but that was a challenge. So I kind of thought that, maybe I should continue searching for a traditional publisher. So I did continue my search, and finally. People in Westland kind of they accepted it, and they edited it, and it's kind of due for publishing in the due for release in the next 1 or 2 months. Now, nothing actually. I would not say that when I started writing the book, all of it was planned. It was not planned, like things kind of evolved. Okay, but now, with this experience, I can say that, when I approached my traditional publishers, I sent the book, self-published book. I declared to them that, it is self-published. Okay, and I showed them this book, and it went to many of them. Okay, and I got some reactions, but this one was positive, and but it came after a long time. I mean, it didn't come immediately, but it did come. So I felt that the manner in which the book had come out was kind of, they found it, impressive. Not just the book cover or anything, but the content, the way we had, presented the content, the process of editing, which had helped me in reorganizing the flow of the book, and also a certain amount of conviction that, okay, I went ahead and self-published my book. I put in certain investment of my own. So how convinced is the author? Ultimately, the ownership has to be shared, between editor and the author, the publishing company and the author, because we cannot say that any of them, any one party can either completely control the process or will be completely responsible for the process. So the responsibility and the accountability has to be shared by every entity which is involved in this process. So if there is an error in printing, I think author is equally responsible, because the proofreading is done by the author also. So I also read the book. So if I kind of find something wrong, I think I need to point it out. And if I don't point it out, it is ultimately, it's not just the publisher's book which is coming out. It is my book also which is coming out. So I guess, this sense of joint responsibility is necessary, so we cannot pin the responsibility or the accountability or even the authority on any one party. So I think, it kind of appealed to Westland, and they picked it up. And then, of course, it was a little different type of an experience, going through the editing with them, and, bringing the book to a stage when it can be released. Yes, there were, as established kind of traditional publishers, they have certain, processes which they follow. So they tell you that, you need to follow this. But I also found them open to suggestions. I mean, it was not that they were not listening to me or anything. They were open to suggestions. They were open to my views. So I kind of pretty much thought it was a two-way traffic, even working with them. So this is what I wanted to share. If there are any specific questions, Leonard, I can take it. Thanks.
Vivek, I want you to wear a traditional publisher's hat right now, although this might not particularly apply to academic publishing. We are seeing two things now. One is for the traditional publishers having a self-publishing arm. We saw that with Penguin, we saw that with Simon & Schuster. That's one thing. Second thing, traditional publishers actively looking at self-published authors as a pool for their language, for their next books. Just try and give us an idea of what they are thinking.
So the idea of setting up your own arm again is something that is more visible on the fiction side, less visible on the academic side. But on the academic side, there's something known as open access publishing. It's not exactly self-publishing. It has something similar to that, but I won't get into the details of that. But well, the content is free in the hands of the consumer in open access publishing. So there's something relatively similar. The question of looking for talent pool, it's like low-hanging fruit. So if somebody else has taken the burden of evaluating the content, and so what does a traditional publisher do in the fiction world? So the editor, you rely on the editor, the commissioning editor, the acquisition editor to evaluate the content and say, well, this will sell or this won't sell. But you take the case of any of the stars of self-publishing, and the one thing that happened, which is common to all of them, is that people read their works and said, oh, this is fantastic. Happened, is it, content overload? All of those questions still remain. But the fact is, everybody wants to take the easy way out, and the easy way for searching talent pool, let's put it this way, you'll have more, that's still a good score. So I think that's more for a ratification of, what the content is. So we've reached an era where you've got crowdsourcing,
Publisher brings to the table, because now he's already a known figure. He obviously knows how to get his book out there. So is it just distribution you're talking about?
In a significant majority, and I won't put a number to it, a significant majority of the cases, the only benefit that a publisher brings is his clout on distribution. To me, that's a shortening tail. That's not going to last very long. I don't think any publisher, even closed doors, open doors, will turn around and say, oh, I will have this clout forever. I won't. What will remain is what the value you can bring, and the value is brought in many ways. In fiction, serious non-fiction, it's definitely shelf space. It's definitely visibility. Promotions, take it from me as a publisher, publishers don't promote. Their budgets are very, very small, and please leave all the big names out. The big names sell on their own. You take somebody off the street and you say, I'm going to put muscle behind, marketing muscle or dollars or rupees behind them to actually promote them. That's not true. It's not going to happen. That's the truth. That's the reality. The publishing, the earlier clout that publishers had has become more democratized. So my own, again, personal opinion on this whole e-commerce and online spaces, it has democratized distribution. And that's not a bad thing. I'm in favor of democracy. I don't believe that a handful of publishers, because of whatever reason, control all the space that exists.
So question that should traditional publishers actually also get into self-publishing? Well, I mean, as a marketing research exercise, it makes tremendous sense. But also, there is a clear conflict of interest there, because the temptation to not take the risk on Sure.
By HP, where they have put data house to do it, the
Position for self-cover.
Not doing more than, that's absolutely crucial. And I think, presentation of book, even clearly kind of provided their book on whatever available.
Thank you. Shailesh, do you want to add to this? I just want to know what is the business value that you offer? What is the value that you offer your readers?
Actually, not reader, author के लिए. जब अभी मैं मनीष से बाहर बात कर रहा था तो तब भी ये बात हम लोग कर रहे थे कि जैसे ही आप कोई सेल्फ पब्लिशिंग का पूरा पैटर्न है, आप उसको समझने की कोशिश करें तो ज़्यादातर ऑथर आपसे ऐसे जो आपको कांटेक्ट करते हैं वो ऐसे लोग होते हैं जो आपसे पूछते हैं कि मेरे पास इतने पेज का मैटर है, आप कितने पैसे लेंगे और आपको हमें कितनी कॉपीज़ देंगे. अब ये समझने वाली बात है कि किसी भी सेल्फ पब्लिशिंग कंपनी के लिए भी, जैसे ये लिनॉट के लिए भी, कि ऐसा कोई ऑथर जो आपके पास ऐसे आ रहा है और कह रहा है कि आपके क्या पैकेजेज हैं, जैसे ये पार्ट रीच इंडिया के पैकेजेज हैं, अभी इस पे भी हम बात करेंगे। तो वो न वो पब्लिशर आपकी कोई मदद करने वाला है, न वो कोई ऑथर आप उस पब्लिशर की कोई मदद करने वाला है, क्योंकि उससे ये पूछा जाना चाहिए जो हम लोग आमतौर पे पूछते हैं कि आप हमारे बारे में कैसे जाने, आप हमारे बारे में जब जाने आपने हमें क्यों चुना, आप हमसे क्यों पब्लिश होना चाहते हैं, क्या आपने हमसे पब्लिश कोई बुक खरीद रखी है, कोई पढ़ रखी है, देख रखी है कहीं से, आपने हमें क्यों चुना, क्या हमारी ईमेल आईडी हमारी वेबसाइट पे है इसलिए आप हम तक आ रहे हैं, आप हमसे क्यों छपना चाहते हैं। इसके बाद अगर वो हमसे छपना चाहते हैं तो ये निश्चित है कि हम उनका कंटेंट देखना चाहेंगे, एक एवरेज कंटेंट को ही हम छापेंगे, बिल्कुल एक एवरेज लेवल के नीचे के कंटेंट को हम नहीं छापेंगे। किसी ने कुछ भी लिखा है हम उसको छाप देंगे, क्या हम एक प्रिंटिंग प्रेस हैं? एक चीज़। दूसरी चीज़ की जब आप एक कोई सेल्फ पब्लिशिंग कंपनी है, हम जैसे नए पब्लिशर्स जिनके पास बहुत बड़ा यूनिट नहीं है, बहुत सारे लोग नहीं हैं, बहुत सारी चीज़ें आउटसोर्स हैं, अपने पास सारी चीज़ें नहीं हैं, तो इनके लिए भी ज़रूरी है कि जब आप सेल्फ पब्लिश हो रहे हैं तो असल में आप खुद भी उस पब्लिकेशन के पार्ट हैं और पब्लिशर के तौर पे पार्ट हैं। यानी कि आप आने वाले टाइम में प्रमोशन में आप पब्लिशर की कितनी मदद करने वाले हैं, क्या अपनी सारी कॉपीज आप लोगों को फ्री में बांटने वाले हैं, फिर ये हमारे लिए क्या काम करेगा। हमने आपसे शुरू में 2, 4, 5 हज़ार रुपये लेकर के क्या हम कोई एक पब्लिशिंग कंपनी चला सकते हैं या नहीं चला सकते। तो इस तरह की चीज़ें हम डिस्कस करते हैं अपने ऑथर से, और हम ऐसे ही ऑथर्स को सेल्फ पब्लिश भी करना चाहते हैं जो हमारे साथ प्रमोशन में, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन में, मार्केटिंग में जिस भी तरीके से हेल्प कर सकते हैं हेल्प करें।
Just to give you a rough idea of what he said, um, he says he's not in favor of authors who just come and ask him how much and how many copies will I get in return. He's very interested in knowing how these authors have found him and what is it that attracted him to them. Therefore, they will take on authors only who have marketed their book. So it's more like they are equally invested in the book as much as the authors are, and then probably the authors will expect a certain level of quality from you. So, Kanishka, I want to bring you back into this conversation because what we are hearing is that many of the self-publishing companies are realizing that are paying attention to the same issues that a traditional publisher would of quality of distribution. Because like Vivek pointed out, distribution is becoming increasingly easy to do. I just want to know if you see a trend, if there are lesser submissions to you, what is happening, even outside your work, because people who want to self-publish will not come to you. So you'll not be able to say, authors have come to me and said, I want to self-publish. But as a general observation of the industry, what do you see?
Unhappy with the distribution or other aspects of self-publishing and then approach me to get them a mainstream publisher, which is not feasible at all. I also feel that in my 6 years at Writer's Side, I haven't come across any writer who approaches me and says that, I'm getting my book self-published, edited. They always approach me for representation. And over the last 3 or 4 years, we have worked on several manuscripts editorially, which we rejected for representation. Unfortunately, even after editing the manuscript, they didn't get placed with publishers. But what I realized that some authors are in this for the long haul. So there have been instances that authors who have availed editing services at Writer's Side have got their 3rd or 4th manuscript accepted by mainstream publishers. So a lot of patience is required. One of my authors sent me 3 manuscripts in the sci-fi category. He was in Australia that time. I rejected all 3 of them. But every time he came back to me with the manuscript and said that, why don't you critique it? And now he has 5 books with mainstream publishers, 2 with HarperCollins, 3 with Westland. So at Writer's Side, we are against self-publishing because I think self-publishing is actually more about instant gratification than anything else.
The manuscript or scientific data, be it in a journal form or what have you, and that has an embargo of a fixed period of time. So for 12 months, it's available only with the publisher, and after 12 months or 6 months or 18 months, it gets deposited somewhere in a public space. That's basically acknowledging saying, you will do the editing, peer review, etc. front, and then after that, it's available to everybody for free. By the government, It's available. Copies you have to pay for. Yeah. So it's all digitally. It's available machine. It's not very different from self.
I think that the point is somebody is saying, I have one author who's saying this, I have the other author who feels like this. That isn't the point about self-publishing at all. It's the business of chasing the long tail. See, we know that we are chasing the huge long tail. Now, what we think at Motion Press is whether we can build an ecosystem around this. So, since you're talking about one author who feels that it doesn't work for them, or the quality is not good, or distribution is not good, let me give you an example of one of my authors. She's published about 3 books with us, who's selling about 5,000 copies, 4,000 copies a month. See, but the only thing that we are saying is one is not an example for anything today in self-publishing being so nascent. What are we working with? 20 authors a month? 30 authors a month? That isn't even numbers when we consider what KDP is doing, or what people there are doing, where they can drive down numbers and say this is what is happening in self-publishing. So my only observation is, let's first try to build an ecosystem around this. So you have the readers. Every time you go reinvent the wheel and say, I'm going to make the author go find new readers and come. Okay, but are you having the readers somewhere? Or are they lost with your authors, with each author? So this is the kind of, these are the kind of problems that we are trying to solve at Motion Press, and we are very open to collaboration with anyone, because we don't treat us as a self-publishing company, but as a technology company in the self-publishing space. So
I think nobody disagreed with you. Publishing started. The whole copyright law actually came and said one printer cannot print another one's work. It had nothing to do with the author. So we are not debating that. What you're saying that there needs an ecosystem, we need a lot of course, absolutely. I don't think anybody here would disagree with you. But again, saying that you've got examples on either side of the argument. Great people, great number of books being sold, and great number of authors being. But if you want to have statistics, here's Amazon, Kindle. 5 years ago, Amazon made a bold statement: we'll wipe out publishers. Kindle's a great device. It does a lot of things. I published my book, and I first put it up on Kindle Prime, and I said I want to experiment with every platform that exists. So I'm in no hurry. It doesn't do anything for me. So I'm going to test out, Smashwords, Lulu, everybody. But the point remains: has it really replaced, or is it complementing? And that's the only thing that we're talking about. That each one is going to find a little space. We're going to find the space, but what I'm very personally happy about is democratizing that space. Let the end customer decide, this is the book I want to buy, this is the reader I want to read, and let the publishing or the brand become secondary. Because it is going to become secondary. I've been standing up and saying, publishers or gateways, they will not exist unless they become pathways.
And this used to become gatekeepers.
Yeah, gatekeepers.
Kanan?
Just want to make a point regarding what happened. And then parallelly, there has always been self-publishing and publishing all along the line. So many of the new authors who come to me, and they know very clearly that their book is not going to sell many copies, but they still want to get published. They'll come and tell me, can you publish my book, and how much should I pay you? So then I'll tell them that, either I'll publish or I won't publish your book, but then we don't take money for publication. And they'll just, receive that with a shock, because most publishers also do this alongside their own publications. It's quite the norm to take the money and publish a book if somebody is ready to offer them. At least 10 years back, more than 10 years back, one publisher in Tamil very aggressively did what is now framed as self-publishing here. He actually had a printed format. So many forms, so many copies, so much money. And that included something that none of you thought of. It included a book release function. So much money for that if you wanted. You take that option. Yeah. And then he promoted that not just in India, in Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Singapore, Europe, and North America. So it's one shot.
Minerva Press. Yeah, so that was like a different type of model on self-publishing. And Hans Christian Andersen, by the way, had to self-publish to become Hans Christian Andersen.
All the left-wing organization publishes that.
What we have not probably looked at it in is the negative vibe around self-publishing, because and some of it is founded in the sense that it's not properly edited, it's not properly designed. Um, uh, the founder of Lulu famously said that I published the world's worst poetry. I want to ask you, Manish, what could kill self-publishing?
Yeah, it is, very rightly, it is the fact of quality. I mean, somewhere self-publishing companies would need to ensure that, what they publish is of a certain quality, because, one has seen, without taking names, a lot of book coming out of other self-publishing companies, which were actually not even books. These are documents badly formatted, very badly edited, but passing off as books. So while there is always a business temptation that everything that comes to you should get published, it should not. And to that extent, if that is not done, then the self-publishing companies would be in trouble.
Are we replacing traditional if we are going to make that choice? Yeah.
Well, I don't think so, because I think traditional publishers, they have put in a
What would be a criteria to say no to something like this?
there has to be a certain meat in terms of the thought process itself. There has to be a certain meat in terms of size. That's very crucial. It should not be libelous, in that sense. Should be clean in that sense. That's very, very important. And you, at a very subjective level, you also have to check what is the conviction of the author. How involved is he? What is he seeking out of it? Is it like some very instant kind of gratification by just publishing and putting some pages together? Then probably you'll have to look at these kind of things really, and you'll have to say, you have to learn to say no, even though you are a services company. But there is a point where you have to filter and you have to say no.
Shailesh, I just wanted to bring you into the same conversation. I want you to, many of the authors that come to us have this concept about publishing, where once they have written, and that's the end of it. I want to know to what level do you expect your authors to be a part of the process, whether it's editing process, whether it's marketing process.
उस बात का जवाब देने से पहले एक दो बात और मैं कहना चाहूँगा कि हिंदी में या कोई भी रीजनल का इतना नहीं पता मुझे, शायद हिंदी पे ही बोलना चाहिए। हिंदी में अगर आप सेल्फ पब्लिश होते हैं, आपके पास कंटेंट भी है, तो एक सबसे बड़ा हर्डल ये भी है हिंदी सेल्फ पब्लिशिंग के पास कि डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करने का कोई चैनल नहीं है। अगर हम एक सेल्फ पब्लिशिंग कंपनी है, तब भी हमारे पास फिजिकल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन का उस तरह का सिस्टम नहीं है जैसे इंग्लिश के पास है। हम लोगों ने काफ़ी मार्केट रिसर्च किया, दरियागंज के काफ़ी चक्कर लगाए, तो समझ में आया कि हिंदी के पास कोई सेंट्रलाइज डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सिस्टम नहीं है। जैसे अगर लिनॉट की कोई किताब हिंदी में छपे और इनको ऐसा लगता हो, या हमें भी लगता हो एक पब्लिशिंग कंपनी होते हुए भी, कि इनका कंटेंट हम सेल कर सकते हैं, तो हमारे पास कोई ऐसा चैनल नहीं है कि हम पूरे हिंदुस्तान में हर जगह उसकी किताबें पहुंचा दें। अगर ये इंग्लिश में है तो ये संभव है, लेकिन हिंदी में है तो नहीं। हिंदी के जिनकी भी किताबें आप कहीं इधर उधर देखते हैं, उनके अपने डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सिस्टम हैं, या वो कोई इंग्लिश पब्लिशर हैं, पेंगुइन, वेस्टलैंड जैसे, जो अपनी हिंदी किताबें इंग्लिश के साथ डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करते हैं। ये दूसरा सवाल इन्होंने किया कि हम ऑथर से किस तरह का हेल्प चाहते हैं या मदद चाहते हैं, तो वो सारे फील्ड में चाहते हैं रिनॉट, चाहे वो एडिटिंग का पार्ट हो, चाहे वो प्रमोशन का पार्ट हो, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन का पार्ट हो। हम लोग इस तरह के भी मॉडल पे वर्क कर रहे हैं कि हमारे ऑथर्स जिन जिन शहरों में हैं, जिन जिन जगहों पर हैं, वो कम से कम वहाँ की दुकानों पे, जो जहाँ जहाँ पे किताबें कंज्यूम हो सकती हैं, वहाँ पर वो हमारे डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर की तरह या हमारे मार्केट रिप्रेजेंटेटिव की तरह भी काम करें। तो हम लोग इस तरह का कोलैबोरेशन चाहते हैं।
Sitaraman, as you move from self-publishing to traditional publishing, give us an idea of how your expectations have changed.
once again, I just want to emphasize one point that, I'm still at a certain level of learning curve in this entire publishing process. So, like, the change of expectation is that, I don't know whether it will come true or not. The traditional publisher probably has a better network, or would be in a position to support distribution in a better way. That is the expectation that I have. But however, having said that, I know many of the authors who have published with traditional publishers. They're my friends, and in my discussions with them, you do come across statements such as that, okay, it's not that the books do well just because it's published by a certain name, and there is no special effort to made to promote it. So I do have those kind of authors also. Some of them are very prominent personalities, not too many of them, but at least two of them. So I really don't know how it is going to work out, Leonard, but this is the expectation, if I have to kind of mention it. This is one point, is just to answer the second thing, which I just want to react to the point that Manish was mentioning about the content being nice, and in self-publishing you would expect something, you would accept something, and you would not accept something. There are so many books published by traditional publishers of very well-known authors. I read a lot of fiction, and if I like an author, I read all their books, all his books, every one of his books. But I do come across, in between, couple of books which are very, very, below expectations. I would not expect, somebody like that author to come out with something like this. It could be a disappointment. One. And second type of, editorial issue which I have come across, again, one author written some 5 or 6 books. So I picked up all the books and I read. And the editing, I would not imagine, using a swear word when I write a novel. Like, I might use a swear word in a particular. If a character is speaking something, there could be a swear word inside. But if you use a swear word in a regular sentence, not in a character communication, it's not acceptable. At least, from my perspective, it should not come in a book. So I've seen those kind of issues also by traditional publishers. So I guess these things happen. What really sells? I have my own views, but I'm sure the brand, the distribution network, and the name, they play a significant part in getting the book reach out to the ultimate reader.
Are there any more questions from the audience?
In context to the self-publishing, I think none of the panelists have touched upon the print on demand. I think if somebody could share some light on the
एक्चुअली मैं बोलूँ, प्रिंट ऑन डिमांड का एक इनिशिएटिव हिंदी में शुरू हुआ बहुत पहले, 4-5 साल पहले, pothi.com। वो लोग इंग्लिश में भी प्रोवाइड करते हैं, लेकिन मेनली उन्होंने हिंदी में शुरू किया था। लेकिन प्रिंट ऑन डिमांड इसलिए शायद मुझे लगता है सक्सेसफुल मॉडल नहीं रहा, क्योंकि प्रिंट ऑन डिमांड में पर कॉपी कॉस्ट बहुत ज़्यादा है, और प्रिंट ऑन डिमांड की ज़रूरत केवल उन्हीं लोगों को थी, जैसे मुझे अपनी गर्लफ्रेंड को कोई कॉपी उसको गिफ्ट में देनी है उसके बर्थडे पर, और मैं उसको सरप्राइज़ देना चाहता हूँ कि मैंने कुछ लिखा है और उसको एक किताब के फॉर्म में बदला, और मैंने ऑर्डर कर दिया वहीं से कि हाँ मुझे 10 कॉपी चाहिए, 10 लोगों को भेजा और वो वहाँ तक पहुँच गया। तो अल्टीमेटली वो एक ऐसा प्रोसेस है कि अगर आप उन लोगों के पास मॉडल्स हैं कि 200 कॉपीज आपको चाहिए, तो आप उसमें एक उन्होंने फार्मूला बना रखा है, आपने कैलकुलेट किया कि 200 रुपीज़ पर कॉपी पड़ेगा, आपको ऑनलाइन लिस्टिंग भी कर देंगे। लेकिन सवाल ये है कि आपकी उस किताब को, जिसके कंटेंट के बारे में किसी को पता नहीं, आप आपकी किताब 500 रुपये में कौन खरीदेगा? जब आप 200 रुपये में उसको आपके पैसे लग रहे हैं तो आप 500 में बेचेंगे, तो 500 में उसे क्यों खरीदेगा? तो अभी तक कम से कम यहाँ पर हमारे देश में प्रिंट ऑन डिमांड सक्सेसफुल मॉडल नहीं रहा है, तो हम लोगों ने इसलिए उसको शायद टच न किया हो।
I'm going to slightly debate that. Print on demand is totally different from self-publishing in the sense that it is.
In context of self-publishing.
Yeah, so in the context of self-publishing, I think it's a very powerful tool because it allows you to experiment like you never have. For example, what we do is we list our books on Flipkart and we sell them we print them after they are sold. So that's one thing. Our inventory is almost zero. Secondly, and I think this is increasingly happening even among authors, they have realized what they can do with print on demand. So, for example, there is this lady who has made one book of her daughter in costumes of every country she's visited. Now, as a concept, that's a tremendous thing because then you are showing what can be done with a medium called a book, and it's a printed book at that. Just to give you yet another example, if you're familiar with the history of Goa, Goa was a Portuguese colony, and Portugal had a dictator called Salazar, who, although reviled, is a very curious figure in Goa. So we've tied up with this publisher of the only English biography of Salazar to have his book available in India on a print-on-demand basis. So we don't invest in inventory, yet their book is available in India. So
Can I give an author's perspective?
yeah, so there are many things that you can do on print-on-demand.
Okay, so let me give you an author's perspective. I will remove my publisher's hat. So I first put my book out on Kindle, and I gave it to Kindle Prime for 3 months, and that's when they say don't publish it anywhere. It got whatever reviews it got in the West and what have you. So in India, there is still a huge reading population that still prefers the print version. So the context in which I wrote to Leonard was, I said, Leonard, I want a print-on-demand service where if there is an order, can you service it? What I'm not going to do is invest in the inventory. So the question today is that cost effective today or not? So now let me give you from the publisher's perspective. 26 copies, the break even, the difference between an offset printing and print on demand, the gap is 26 copies. You can now print 26 copies at the same price at which you would do it in offset. The only difference is you cannot do 26 copies in offset. You'll have to do a minimum of 600 copies or 1,000 copies, and you'll get the same rate that you can get today on print on demand in 26 copies. That's a reality already. Now, it's a question of whether that is implemented immediately. Not really, because that infrastructure is not yet in place in India. It's coming there. So maybe another year or so, you will be able to see sufficient number of people. Leonard is there, Notion Press is there. I keep watching both of them. And so I'm looking at the cost, and I know internally, we do a lot of print on demand. So for us, the decision factor is 26 copies.
How do you think writing as a career for you? And the second question is like if we are going to, if we are an author, whether we are going for self-publishing or whether we are going for traditional publishing, what is the role that an author can play in marketing his or her book?
What was the first question?
My first question is like there is so much discussion going on. So like I have even read an article in newspaper that some people are quitting their jobs and they are coming in writing. But I actually want to know, how do you see writing as a career?
Anybody wants to take this, Manish?
I think, there is, the writer should have a conviction that he wants to succeed as a writer and try it out. That's the only thing that I can say. Yes, there are people who are career writers, and it does not take really a few months to get there. It takes many years to get to that position. So that really depends on an individual to individual, quite frankly, about pursuing writing as a career.
Let's not sit on the fence. Let me give you an honest answer. Yeah, I'll give an honest answer. It's a lot of blood, sweat, tears for no result. Let's call a spade. In writing, I'm telling you, from the year 97, an Indian got a Booker Prize, and I looked at it and said, I can definitely do this. I can do it. I spent 98 researching, 99 writing, 2000, the year 2000, 2001. I scrounged and went all the way to London and slept on the streets and did everything.
Does come with economic growth, but they haven't learned the basics of writing. How do you develop a plot? How do you develop characters? I think if you are going to invest in a book, I think you need to do some learning yourself. Meaning you need to prepare for, like you need to prepare for any sport, you need to prepare for writing. Because everybody thinks they can write, but it takes a certain amount of discipline and a certain amount of studying to actually be able to do that. Just like it helped traditional publishing. I don't know whether it would make any particular difference, because finally the market has to like your book.
Yeah, I mean, if you share your some of your content online, and maybe it's like launching your book and showing your some of your content and ask for, if they like it, they can order it or something.
देखिए शेयर करते हैं आपको पढ़ने वाले कुछ आपके ब्लॉग के थ्रू, फेसबुक के थ्रू, इधर उधर जहाँ से भी आपको फॉलो करते हैं, आपको अखबार के थ्रू, तो वो एक तरह का प्रिंट ऑन डिमांड ही है। हम लोग करते हैं कि कोई भी किताब हम ला रहे हैं, 1 महीने पहले से उसकी प्री बुकिंग कर रहे हैं। 2-4 दिन पहले प्रिंट होने में 2 घंटे का टाइम लगता है। 2-4 दिन पहले हमारे पास नंबर्स क्लियर हो जाते हैं कि इसकी प्री बुक कॉपी 50 है, तो हमें पक्का श्योर हो जाता है कि साल भर में ये 200 से कॉपी ज़्यादा नहीं बिकेगी, तो हम 200 ही पब्लिश करते हैं। थैंक यू।
Does that answer your question?
Where you create a community for your writing as it is, so you keep writing regularly, people keep coming to see what you're doing. And then on that basis, if you ever publish, you would have a ready set of readers, if you sort of use these kind of platforms. Then you've already created a readership base, and if you ever publish a book, they are the first ones who are going to buy it. So there are
That is still a qualified statement, because that's still a qualified thing, because people might not actually pay for that, because as long as it's free, it's easier.
Friends pay for it. Yeah, but there are platforms where they pay to read, like that told that the Shraddha model in China, it worked so well. Of course, they've now dismantled it, but for many years it worked really well. People paid, and they kept reading. You kept updating, added a chapter, and they paid to read. And it worked.
With Spirit Noise, I used to work with Penguin, and now I work as a ebook conversion consultant. So I help publishing houses, small or big, to take their current workflows to help them to convert them to ebooks, or maybe if they like, I help them to convert their content to XML, which make it platform independent. And we have been talking here about only ebooks, so I'm not sure how many of you really sell your content apart from as book or without ebooks. So content licensing, which I would like to talk here as well. But before we go, we had planned this session as a technical information about the ebook, which I think Mrs. Lata has covered it all already. So my presentation is really of no use now, which I prepared and everything is included. But I would still like to talk about EPUB ebook format, which has got a lot of new features, and they have been introducing them in EPUB 3.0, which includes a lot of features which has audio, video, animated EPUBs and enhanced EPUB, which Mrs. Lata has already displayed in their presentation. So I would like to, I'm not sure if I can connect the iPad with the projector. Do we have a connector for this?
He just took it away. It was there.
For the iPad?
I doubt it, because this is a very basic setup.
No problem. I would just like to show it from here. I think it will be visible from here, which has interaction feature as well, and it really works well with the children ebook. So if you can see that this small lens which is moving through the screen, and you can listen the audio which is coming out of the book, right? So this physical book is a board book which has instead of this lens, it had holes in it. So the idea of the book is it's for very small kids. So you can see from maybe from the on the page 1 you can see a hole and the animal covered. So when you flip the board, it will reveal the actual animal. So here you can see that if you can see, I can move around this lens and can see which is the animal behind the cabbage. So if you notice, there are marks which are running there, and again we have this hole. You can use it to reveal the animal on the next page. If you move it again, so you can see different sounds and animations coming in. If you would have the connector, it would be more easily visible. And this is a ebook provided by Apple, who when they had started doing this, so they made a sample to show the publisher how it can be done. So you can see more of animation in this. So it doesn't have that vertical, so maybe I'll show you another sample. Also, you can create your books exactly look same in ebooks, but provided that there are platform dependency on that. So some of the e-readers can display your book as same as in you can show them in print book or even in PDF with all with all ebook features. So like I have this the Big Dinosaur Dick book, where you have this is complete ebook, this is text, you can search the text, but yet it looks exactly the same as you have in the print books. And it has read aloud feature as well.
Lost and found. Traveling through the Sahara Desert in the SUV.
So it will read through the complete book, yet it is looks completely the same as you have it in print book.
Somewhere in this desert, he was hoping dinosaurs in part of the Sahara Desert in Egypt.
I'm not sure if you have heard about IBA, that is Apple's proprietary ebook format. They call it iBooks Author, and they have got quite good features in this format. It doesn't really look like a ebook, but more like an app. So you can see all the spreads here coming here. This is the home page for the ebook. It works in iBooks. It works on iPad and iPhones, even on Mac as well. You can zoom in the photographs, zoom out when you zoom in it shows multiple other information. Like you can see that there's a caption here on above the picture, but when you zoom in, the caption will go and it will just show the image. Similarly, it can also have videos. Let me just look for that. Yeah.
What is an ecosystem? Well, we think of this in plain descriptive terms.
In this format, you can also integrate 3D models within the book, and it's quite enhanced ebook which Apple has provided. Then the most basic ebooks which we talk about is we call it technically we call it reflowable, which you can either read in a spread format, or if you turn it around, it will show you a page format, and you can change. I'm sure you all have tried it already, but you can convert, you can choose to read the book in sepia tone or turn it to the night reading, which we doesn't really have in PDF or other formats. Can increase the font sizes, I think, which all the issues which arise from these features, which Mrs. Lata has also discussed about flowing over the content, maybe just one single line which is appearing on the next page, or hyphenations and things like that, which appears because of this format, and those can be addressed in fixed layout books, which looks exactly the same as print ebooks.
I stand in a better position that I am equidistant from the publishers and I am equidistant from the techies. So I think what I would like to share you here, you have already come across the technical capabilities of the ebook. Now I just wanted to share a few things that as a agency, what we have experienced so far. One thing is that I would like to say now confidently that yes, Indian language readers, Indian language ebooks can be equally successful, and they have all the capabilities. There are of course some constraints that are being taken care of, but and why do we like ये अंडा पहले या मुर्गी पहले थोड़ा केस बनता था that because people feel that there might not be readers for Indian language ebooks. Why to go in for that? Why to invest in that? But I think that Indian language readers are all over the world, and they are equally hungry to read in their own language. So I think that makes the case. Another thing is that it really is cost saving. A basic ebook can be very economic. Of course, as you go on adding the features and the capabilities, it can be comparable. But all in all, if you want to go in for the ebook, Indian language ebook can be very cost saving. And portability and ease we have already talked about. Technical capabilities are also discussed earlier, that you can add audio, video, or even a film clipping, or you can share it with your fellow readers or even the author of the book. You can share the internet links, and especially it is good for where you have to update the content periodically, say for textbooks or educational books or guides, so to say. Wherever you have to update the contents periodically, it is quite effective. Then while ebook contents are, you need to have those on multiple devices. One is that ease of viewing naturally opens the market, because there are various reader groups that prefer different reading devices, or they can be country specific, or a particular device is more popular in that particular geography. So it is better to have all your ebooks on multiple readers, and which is not very difficult technically. Actually, conversion is conversion. So it is, but for the publishers, if you stick to only one device, there can be a better option if you decide to go on multiple devices. How agency adds value. I am not promoting my case, but I really want to have 100 translation panacea to be working in this space, because there is so much of scope here. One is that efforts and cost is certainly divided. The publisher doesn't have to be updated on all the technical fronts. The publisher doesn't have to be on the toes what is selling, or like these things. The agency can be updated. Like you outsource printing, you can outsource the conversion or even the distribution and selling as well of your ebooks. It is the agency's duty to be technically updated. Another thing is that the agency, we boast for that, like we love books, so the agency that understands books and understands the technology, because publishers have the peculiar constraints, or publishers really feel some challenges. So if the agency also understands what is the book business and it understands the technology, the combination is a better combination. And of course you have a one-point contact for conversion, distribution, selling and hand-holding as well. So
ideally what can be done is that the publisher or the self-publishing author should have a choice how far they want to outsource and how far they want to retain the things with them. So if they feel like they would like to outsource everything, right from conversion to selling, they should be able to do that. Otherwise, if they wish that they will going only for conversion, they will go somewhere else, go to someone else for distribution, someone else for some other service. They should have that option available. I would like to share what the publisher should think while going in for ebook conversion or ebook platform. One thing is what I have experienced. This might sound as a very basic and very preliminary thing, but they should have a very they should be absolutely clear as to who has the rights for ebook or the electronic media. Because I have seen the agreements between publishers and authors that say that the publisher has the electronic media right, and what the author ends up getting is a PDF file. So both the parties should be absolutely clear who has the rights and what do they mean by the platform. This point has been touched upon, but I would like to stress that treating ebook production as separate and different, simply because it has the different technical capabilities. Normally at this point what we get is a printed book or the let alone when he was asking whether you get the InDesign file, I say I still get the PageMaker files as well. So the ultimate soft copy is what we get now. But I think that if the ebook converter is involved right from the beginning, it will help, because the way you tell a story in printed format can be entirely different from what you can tell it in the electronic media, just because of the technical capabilities. You can play a lot of gimmicks. I have been given only 10 minutes, so I will just touch upon this point that please treat the two productions as different production, independent production of the same content. And of course, now content is the king, so select the content-rich books for ebook sale. Children's book can be an exception because they have not many illustrations and they have the visual appeal anyways. But otherwise for adult reading, the books that are content-rich are ideal or are a good choice for going in for e-media, because if people don't like, they will just refuse to buy or refuse to even see that. So I think this was all that I would like to share, because the earlier session has touched upon all the points and discussed all the points. So this is what out of our experience I wanted to share with you all. Thank you very much.
On the point of keeping the production process separate, I would like to mention that even if you start converting the ebook after you have finished your print workflow, I would suggest to keep some precautions while you are doing your ebook, your book layouts. So for example, always use proper styling. Don't use loose styling. Keep your files standardized in terms of the naming, font style naming or paragraph style naming. So these play a major role while you will convert them. And the major issue which we have already discussed is the font. So you'll have to be very careful while choosing font. If you are doing it in regional fonts or maybe a foreign language, you should always be using the Unicode based fonts.
In a book, typically you can have 4 or more fonts as well. So having those Unicode fonts, like now, whether we would like to have better fonts, yes, certainly we would like to have better fonts. But especially when it comes to the decorative fonts in the titling or the first letter of the para or something, but it has to be necessary in Unicode. Now publishers and authors still prefer the older formats or older fonts that may have to be replaced with Unicodes. Or in print media, in printed books, you can have the luxury of having different styling for different chapters to avoid the widows and the hanging lines or something. But in here, it is always advisable to have the uniform styling throughout the book. So there are small little things that you can take care of, and in ebook you can fill the gaps with something else. So these are some things to remember. Any questions?
I think one of the things that I had thought we could cover in the workshop is also, for many publishers, even things like what is styling, what are, even at that basic level, what are the things to be thought through before we go into an EPUB process or any kind of app development?
See, the deciding factor is also what workflow do you really follow currently when you are doing your print layouts. Some softwares, like she mentioned, that people are still using PageMaker, so I would suggest first that everyone should upgrade themselves to latest technology. If they really want to go with the market and be digital, they'll have to upgrade themselves in terms of software, in terms of what they are using, and leave the old things behind. Even these softwares doesn't have support anymore. No company supports them, and the encoding they uses, so those are also not supported. And when you take them out from the software and take them into XML or in EPUB or HTML, those will not be accurate when they'll be exported. And so there are very few things which you should be taking care of while doing the ebook, while doing the books. So I'm sure everyone must be using the font, the paragraph and its character styles. But if they are not using, they should be using proper paragraph and character style, which can also enhance their workflow of book layout. It can really speed up their layout process as well.
Even in case of book cover also, I would like to share that recently we are doing a book, it can be loosely translated in English as at the banks of the stream of the thoughts. So naturally authors and publishers are in love with the printed cover. But this very book, or even there are many other books also, where the cover of the ebook can be very differently presented. So as I said, just to reiterate that it is a different kind of medium. So let us not compare it with the, like my book has 76 pages or 300 pages. What happens to the ebook? How many pages? May not work.
Yeah, and when we are talking about page numbers, one very important aspect is cross-references. Fiction books might not have, but specifically the travel guides and other non-fiction books generally have cross-references and footnotes. So these are things when you do in print books, it's the matter of editing, how you are doing that, and just referencing them within the text. But if you are still working on old technology, these things become more of pain when you go on digital platform, because all those old software doesn't really have provisions of mentioning footnotes in technical terms. Because when you create footnotes or when you create cross references, those are just text. Technically, those are just text, nothing more than that. But when you create them as cross references or hyperlinks within the software, these become, when you export them, these will automatically become as linkable text.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Like when we are writing a book, so we have to write it normally, the publisher will convert it into an ebook, or like we have to do it. And as I see, like there is so much innovation in ebooks, so do we need to do an animation course for that? Because like they can create anything, so I want to know this.
The writer has to write a book. Whether it will be a printed book or an e-book, that's again his or her choice. As you don't have to know about, you don't have to be a printer yourself, you don't have to be an e-book converter yourself for getting your e-book done. Once you have made the choice, then you can either your publisher can do it or an independent agency like us can do it.
Like we have to only develop the content.
Yes.
Other things, videos, etc., they will be added by.
Yes, there are many capabilities as I said, and together we have to decide how far you have to go, you want to go.
Because like in ebooks, you can have so much of animated content. So like that goes to animation. Like as an author can't do that. So
Those will be.
If we see for a future of writers that they need to do these animation courses to like actually do.
No. It can be loosely compared with the illustrations maybe. How many illustrations will be there? The author and publisher may have to decide together.
कॉपी हो गया था
Can we continue? Likewise, how much animation, how much films, if you want to have the film separately, I mean specifically made for this book, it has a cost component. So it will be decided mutually, and you don't have to do the course in animation, certainly.
Also, making an animated ebook is quite subjective. Every content that is not suitable for animation. So not even every illustrated book or every image book can be animated. So it's quite subjective.
I as a reader, how is the cost differential between a printed book or an e-book? I'm not a publisher, but just a reader.
What do you think? How would you like to have the ebook? Cheaper than the printed copy, or?
Of course.
Of course. Yeah. So you will get it cheaper than the. Thing.
How much?
It depends on how dense the contents are, how much it is technically patched up. That is the thing. I think there will be time like as you have two different versions. One is the paperback and hardbound. Like you have the plain book and the add-on version. Something like that can also come up. As a reader, again myself, what I have in mind that once you buy a book, the book comes to your home, and it is your book. Anyone in the family can read it as and when he or she wishes to. Once you have the ebook, it's your own copy, sitting in your own device. So that's the only way.
Again, this is a publisher's choice what should be the pricing, but I believe when you pay for a book, you don't pay for paper or the cover. You pay for the content. So you are getting the same content in the ebook as you will get in the printed book. There might be less cost for the publisher, but again, this is a publisher's decision whether they want to sell it in the same price or less than what they are selling for the printed book.
Thanks for your patience and congratulations for your endurance.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Vidula. With this, we conclude our edition of Publishing Next at the New Delhi World Book Fair. I want to thank you all for being a part of this conference and coming on a Sunday and spending your time here. Briefly, I would like to thank NBT for helping us with this conference, and our advisory board consisting of Vinuta Malia, K. Satyanarayan and Ruben de Cruz, and everybody who stood behind us and helped us to make this publishing next a success. There are some people who have traveled a long way to be with us, people who have always come to Goa also to be a part of publishing next. I would like to thank them, and I hope that you will keep in touch with us, because we have an annual conference in September every year, and we would like to see you there and be a part of the discussions that happen there. Thank you very much.
Who's Naveen? You owe me a reply. I sent you an email.